Hi, this is Vlatka the Sound Shamaness, and today on Crystal Speak, I'm going to do a sample crystal reading of this Cathedral Smoky Quartz, which is all natural, only the faces are polished, and it has a self-healed cluster on the bottom. So we start with a song. Ooh, ah, ooh. Hey, ah, yo. Hey, ah, yo, hey, ah, yo, ho, 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 hee. Hey, ah, yo, ah, yo. Ooh, hey, ah, hee, ma, ooh, hey, ah, yo. Hey, ah, yo, hey, hey, ah, yo, hey, ah, yo. Ooh, ah, ooh, hey, ah, yo. Hi, him. So a crystal reading that I do starts off with a cursory evaluation of the crystal. So that's looking at its physical attributes and what the crystal is saying about itself by taking on that form. So with this crystal, it is a cathedral quartz. It is not a cluster, it's a cathedral quartz. And the way that you can tell is because it's got all the spires that make it look like a castle. Okay. Now, the bottom of the crystal has a self-healed cluster. So that's one thing that makes it unique. It's self-healed on this side. And so when a crystal is self-healed, it can help us to know how to heal ourselves because it's healed itself. Now, the other part of it that's also self-healed, which is really unique with this cluster, is that if you can see real close, it looks like it's been cut. Okay, it's got these cut marks on it. And actually, if you look really close, I don't know if you can see it here with the camera, those are growth interference marks. And one of the ways that you can tell that it hasn't been physically cut by a person is because those have self-healed and there are little etchings and markings on them, which makes it really unique. It's the first time I've seen something like this on a crystal. And so the growth interference, recently I've come across quite a few growth interference crystals. And one of the things that I find about them is because a mineral that was there that's cut into it and left its mark helps us to deal with things in our past, for example, the journey that we've been on, the spiritual journey that we've been on. And in that journey, we've had hardships, we've had challenges, we've had challenging lessons. There's been grief, there's been various different growth spurts, if you will. And a growth interference helps us to more completely and more fully accept those lessons and to accept those sometimes harder aspects of ourselves or our lives or mistakes we've made, and helps us in integrating those parts of our shadow into us so that we can accept ourselves, forgive ourselves, and embrace more of who we are. And so I believe that because growth interference crystals have gone through those kinds of growth challenges in a crystal way, they can help us in our journey to do the same in our human way. Now, this particular one also has, it's been through, it looks like this face has broke at one time. It looks like a very big gouge, more than a chip. And so some people call these kinds of crystals empathic crystals. Again, similar to growth interference, but slightly different in that they because they've gone through a lot, they can help us again to be more accepting and self-loving um, of the things that we've gone through, the hardships, our own places where we've been hurt or broken, or the cracks and crevices we've gone through in life. So cathedral quartz, the way that I've learned in my spiritual tradition from my teacher and friend, cathedral quartz all have to do with memory of Lemuria, because in Lemuria there were the crystal cities, which weren't really crystals. They weren't made of crystal, but they had a light to them. And that's where the magicians and the dreamers and the healers and the teachers to be would go to learn their craft. And they would be there for many years, sometimes 30, 40, 50 or more years, learning their craft before they would go back to the villages, whether it was the farmlands, whether it was Lemurian festivals they were drawn to, where they would go and help people. And sometimes these teacher, healer, magicians, etc., would have a crystal such as this that would hold the resonance knowing of what they learned in the crystal cities, and then they would take it with them. It would be their companion, and they would take them with them when they went to places to work with people, whether it was one-on-one or whether it was in groups, in villages, or at festivals. They would utilize that crystal as a companion to help them work the magic, to help them teach, to help them heal, to help them do whatever their calling was to do. So I think cathedral quartz, I believe, holds that kind of energy and that kind of knowing. Now, each individual crystal would hold different knowing. And when a crystal comes into play with its new keeper, I think that things change, crystals change. And so even though its provenance might be still from Lemuria and it might be from the crystal temples, it's going to work with that person, their new keeper, in the moment. And it's going to change because of the person. And as the person changes and grows, the crystal changes, and the person grows and changes because of the crystal. It's a co-creation. We have that kind of impact on one another. So let me see what else is really prominent about this crystal that I can say for this quick sample reading is the cluster on the bottom. I mean, that is just spectacular. It is so unique to this crystal. So in a way, I mean, it's like its own little crystal city. In a way, it is a double terminated energy. So it would bring in the energy of balance, and because it's a smoky quartz, it would bring in that grounding and that protection. It would also, smoky quartz is really good for slowing energy down. When we're accelerating our spiritual work and it feels sometimes like it's too much, or there's too much chaos, or there's too much crisis, even if it is positive crisis, like the crisis of success, then this crystal can help you to slow things down and take things one step at a time. It can also help you manifest things one step at a time so that it's not too overwhelming. It's a wonderful energy that way. I have a sensing that this can be a companion crystal, and that is part of its destiny. And right now, one of the faces I'm seeing on one of the spires over here, I don't know if you can see it, is actually a Isis face. So it brings in the energy of the goddess as well. And I think also that, crystals like this, just similar to clusters, cathedral quartz can bring in the energy of family or community, and you can work around issues of family and community, whether it's local community or global community. So you can work with it when you're doing programming and that kind of thing. The one other thing I wanted to mention is here's this really unique face. It almost looks like a keyhole. Now, crystals speak in symbol and metaphor. And that's my experience. And that's how I've learned it from my spiritual tradition. And so if that were to be speaking to me as a keyhole, to me, it would speak of the keys to brilliant futures. And again, that comes from my spiritual tradition. So I might want to work with this crystal, with working with various futures. And in order to allow the changes that need to come into my own personal life, but also currently in our world, so that we can embrace more of the new world that's coming in. Now, that's just a sample of a reading, and the readings are available in my Etsy shop. The information will be down below. If you like this video, please click on the like. If you'd like to see more samples of crystal readings, then you can also subscribe to this channel. I appreciate that very much. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you. Ooh-ah-woo. Ooh-ah-woo-ah. Hey-ah-yo, hey-ah-yo, hey. Hey-ah-yo. Ah-yo. Ooh-ah. Hey-hey-hey. Ah-yo, hey-ah-him. Ooh-ah-woo. Hey-ah-yo, hey-ah-yo, hey. Hey-ah-yo.